Hey guys, Dr. Shook here. Hope you're doing well. So, I decided, I'm at my office, I'm getting ready to go home, but I wanted to share this with you guys because I think this is one of the most important things that I can possibly share with you guys. This is, the connection between environmental toxins and the leading causes of death and disease in the United States is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. When you start looking at the scientific literature and the research, we only know a small fraction of the impact that a lot of these environmental chemicals are having upon our health and physiology. It's unbelievable that there are at least 70,000 environmental chemicals that are manufactured for agriculture and industrial use, and we've only studied 1,500 of them, and those aren't extensive studies, and those are looking at the individual chemicals and not the combined effect that we're all being subjected to. Guys, this is a hidden epidemic, and I'm just going to share with you something today that I think is extremely important, because the problem that I'm going to talk to you about today is causing a tremendous number of other health problems. It's contributing to cancer. It's contributing to neurodegenerative conditions, where we're talking about brain degenerative conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia. And it's, what I'm convinced that the cause that you think is driving this problem is not as it seems. Okay, so let's talk about the toxin and diabetes connection. Toxins and diabetes connection. Guys, diabetes by itself is projected to bankrupt the healthcare system in the United States. It is the leading cause behind Alzheimer's. You guys know that Alzheimer's in the scientific literature is called what? Type 3 diabetes. Now, there's no doubt that there's multiple causes to diabetes and to Alzheimer's, but this is unbelievable. Some of the research that's out there, and when you start looking at this, it changes your perception and your beliefs on what is causing diabetes. This is a huge issue. So I definitely want to share this, because I know that if you're watching this, you know someone that has diabetes. Who doesn't know someone that has diabetes? Like, I know 3 of my immediate family members that have diabetes. And what are they doing? They're being led and instructed they're being instructed in such a way that they're doomed to fail. We know that the treatment for diabetes promotes diabetes. Because you know what the treatment for diabetes is? Talking about type 2, right? Type 1 is insulin dependent. You've got to have insulin. But type 2, the treatment for diabetes is more insulin, which diabetes is a disease of high insulin because it causes you to store all your calories, which promotes insulin resistance, which promotes diabetes. If you want to address diabetes, you've got to have better sensitivity to insulin and lower insulin. So this is huge, okay? So here's the connection. Let's look at this first. So in 1955, okay, there was less than 1% of the population had diabetes, okay? In 2010, greater than 7% of the population has diabetes or had diabetes, okay? 7%. So why the increase? And most of you are going to be like, well, because people are eating more sugar. No, that's not. What we found and what the research shows is that the increase did not start with the consumption of sugar. It did not, because we know that the consumption of sugar it did go up till in like 1910. It was higher, but it was pretty much a plateau from 1910 until about 1980, and then we see an increase in sugar consumption. So if it was high in 1910, then why didn't we see an increase in diabetes prior to 1955? Okay, we should have seen a higher, if it was because of sugar, right? If it was because of sugar, then why didn't we see an increase in diabetes before 1955? If sugar consumption increased and spiked, and it was high in 1910, and it was pretty close, it was a plateau, and it was high sugar consumption from 1910 to 1980, then why didn't we see an increase in diabetes in 1910 to 1955? Why was it less than 1% in 1955, but in 2010 it's 7%? Why didn't we see 7% of the population in about 1910 when it was close to the same levels? Why? Because that's the correlation with sugar, right? Because I know you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, it's because people eat more sugar. Well, if that's the case, then why doesn't it match? So, an amazing correlation, and now listen guys, correlation means that when you see a rise in one number, you see a correlating or a similar rise in another number. It doesn't equal causation, so it doesn't mean that one causes the other, but this is really compelling. So there's an amazing correlation, like they match really closely, between chemical production for industry, like so chemicals used in manufacturing, agriculture, so we're talking pesticides, okay, especially pesticides, especially something called organochlorine pesticides. So industry, agriculture, and health and beauty aids. Health and beauty aids. HABA. Okay, so it's stuff you use in your cosmetics. That you put on your body. So we saw this. So there's an incredible correlation because in about the 1960s, we saw that there was this huge explosion of chemical production. Okay? And all of these chemicals started to be used, again, industry, agriculture, so manufacturing, agriculture, and health and beauty aids are putting all this stuff in there. And how much of it was researched? Almost none of it. 70,000 chemicals, only of which today 1,500 have been really researched. We have no idea of the impact that these things have, especially when we're exposed to multiple chemicals, which we all are exposed to multiple chemicals. If you just look at like what the CDC did, their studies, and when they checked people that did not have, like there's over 2,500 people for exposure to chemicals. Of the chemicals they checked, there were over 200 chemicals in people's bodies. And these are people that did not have occupational exposures, like a risk of occupational exposure. Right? They didn't have a risk factor. 216. Has anyone studied how even 2 or 3 of them? Hardly. So, but let's talk about this connection with diabetes. So, many of these chemicals here, the industry, agriculture, and health and beauty, decrease insulin sensitivity. So what they do is they poison. So the cells of your body should be sensitive to insulin. Most of you, if you have diabetes or if you've heard of diabetes, you've heard of something called what? Insulin resistance. So your insulin builds up in your body, but your body can't use the insulin. And they say, well, it's because your blood sugar is too high and your pancreas is making more, and you decrease the sensitivity of the cells. What if the chemicals that are in our environment, that the research is showing us do this, are actually poisoning or blunting the cells of your body so they can't be sensitive to the insulin. So the insulin builds up. Your blood sugar goes up. And then your doctors look at you and go, well, it's because of your blood sugar. It's because of your diet. Not so fast. So these chemicals, especially organochlorine pesticides. Listen, guys, there's multiple. But organochlorine pesticides, agriculture, spraying on your food, you're eating it. Organochlorine pesticides decrease insulin sensitivity. Come on. There's tons of literature and research on this stuff. They decrease insulin sensitivity. So you think, your doctors think, because they're not aware of this. No one's teaching them this. Why would they? Why would they? There's no money in this. There's no money in telling you. There's no money. There's no way that your doctor's going to make money off of that. It's not that they wouldn't tell you if they knew. First of all, they're good people, but no one's coming in and educating them on ways to control diabetes by telling their patients that the pesticides in their food are creating this problem. No one's educating them. Their time is very short, so people are teaching them about the drugs to control blood sugar and insulin. Meanwhile, diabetes just goes and explodes, and you are trapped on the hamster wheel of slowly rising blood sugar and having to utilize these medications. that just about ensure that you will never be cured of diabetes. Not that someone has some kind of sinister plan or there's a conspiracy. They're trying to help you. I think the people making the drugs are trying to help you. But the fact is what is the cause of the problem? If it made sense that sugar was the problem, and sugar is a problem, but it's definitely not the only problem, because it was high in 1910, but diabetes wasn't a problem until about the 60s, when we started seeing the chemicals exploding in industry, agriculture, and health. And we know things like organochlorine pesticides decrease insulin sensitivity. They started to be used in the 60s when we started to see a huge increase in diabetes. A huge increase in diabetes. So we see organochlorine pesticides that decrease the sensitivity, so your body can't use the insulin. And guess what? Arsenic, which is found throughout our environment. If you happen to have exposure to arsenic and this, arsenic decreases the ability of the pancreas, the organ that releases your insulin, to go down. So now you have burnout or a decreased ability to produce insulin, and you lose insulin sensitivity. Come on, guys. This is not hard to understand that this is a hidden epidemic, right? Believe me or not, I don't care. What I do care about is that I'm going to share this with the people that are willing to listen. Listen, if I'm wrong about this, then why, if you go on Dr. Google and you type in this word, obesogen, type in the word obesogen, and just look at all the literature and the research that comes up. Go to pubmed.gov, where all the peer-reviewed scientific literature is indexed with the good literature. Type in the word obesogen. Type in the word diabetes and chemicals. Type in the word obesogens, and separately type in diabetogens. Diabetogens. What does that sound like? They're chemicals, environmental chemicals and industrial chemicals that are known to promote and cause diabetes. If you're not aware of this, you need to be aware of this yesterday. Because your health, your family's health, your children's health, your grandchildren's health, they all depend on it. You cannot ignore this. We cannot ignore the fact that we are being poisoned by chemicals. You have to take active steps to remove this stuff from your environment so that you can be healthy. To give you the best chance, because listen, no matter what you do, you eat all organic foods, you remove the chemicals you're putting into your body through your health and beauty aids, you take every step that you can. You are still going to be exposed on some degree. So you have to actively be detoxifying your body in a way that makes sense. This is a huge problem. I've got 3 family members that I can think of right now that have diabetes that I want nothing more than to be healthy. And I may never be able to help them do that. And that pisses me off, quite frankly. That makes me very upset that this stuff that puts basically money before people could be contributing to that. Is anyone doing the right thing to help us with this? Very few people. Are our politicians and the people that should be protecting us from this garbage doing anything about this? No, because it has to be a problem first. So, this is a big issue. Just go and research it. Do your own research. But I'm telling you today that this is a major issue and that this is just one teeny tiny piece of the problem, because there are 70,000 industrial agricultural chemicals being produced at a rate of over 4 trillion pounds per year, of which 1,500 have been researched. You need to go. So what can you do about it? Well, you need to go to, and I talk about this a lot, ewg.org. ewg.org. Go there and download their list of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 foods. Eat off of that list or buy organic foods. Okay, that list will help you to prioritize if you cannot buy organic foods, all organic foods. You've got to start by removing it from your foods. Number 2, You can get the Think Dirty app. Think Dirty is probably the easiest way. Download it to your phone, scan everything that has a barcode and remove it from your personal care products and your cleaning products and everything. If it's toxic, research on that app and get the things that are non-toxic. Start there. Remove the sources as best you can. If you can get a reverse osmosis filter in your home, filter your water. Guys, this is a huge problem. You know, we are taking groups of people in groups of 30 through our detoxification program. We're focusing on really helping 30 people every month to 3 months. We're not exactly sure on our schedule yet. And I'm teaching a webinar. So far, we've got another webinar coming up on July 13th. July 13th, if you go to nomoretoxicbody.com, you can register for our next webinar where I'm going to be teaching all about this stuff. All about this stuff. But guys, this is a huge problem. And it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. We have to do something like support the EWG. Support the EWG. If you're going to give some money to the EWG because they're doing a lot of research to expose a lot of problems. And you know they are a good group, and you know you can support them. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do real detoxification, not colon cleanses, not liver flushes, not you know, most of the detoxes out there, I think 98% don't work. 50% are dangerous. They'll pull things out of the tissues only to create auto-intoxication or re-intoxication of your body. They don't eliminate. They just redeposit. I'm going to be teaching that if you want to learn more about it at nomoretoxicbody.com. But there's just a lot going on. The more I research, the more upset I become, quite frankly. The more I realize this is a huge problem. So guys, I don't have any more time today. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me, listening to me rant, but the fact is that this is an epidemic. We've got to change this. This is not acceptable. We got to change the world. My goal is to do that one person at a time. If I can impact your health, that'll change your family's health, your community's health, and ultimately we'll change the world that way. You know, the thing is that not enough people know about this stuff. I mean, I don't think very, very, very few people know about this stuff. So you guys got to help me help other people. Please share this information, spread the word so that we can help other people. We've got to get the word out about this stuff, guys. This is a huge problem. So help me help other people. Share this video. Help your family, help your friends to take their health back. Because my goal is to help you become better educated so you can be your own advocate. So many people are not active participants in their healthcare. They just have stuff done to them. That's not how you're going to get better. You got to be your own advocate. You got to learn. And that's okay. You can do it one step and one day at a time. But you got to be your own advocate. And you can do that. You can be an active participant in your healthcare. You can be a better partner with your doctors. Okay? So anyway, I'm done ranting. Take this information. Share this video. We got to help other people help themselves. Hey guys, Dr. Shook, thank you for viewing our videos. I hope they help you out. If you want to, just subscribe to our channel somewhere here. You can watch a video that YouTube's actually selected for you, so hopefully it'll help you out. If you need any other information or resources, just look in the description. We've got links to our website, to our 9 lab test guidebook, and everything else that we do. I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys have a great